Hi folks, welcome back to the channel. I'm Pat Moore and this is More Sporting. Hey, if you've had any experiences with Kapowsin, I'd really love to hear what you have to say about it in the comments. Bear with me here, there's going to be a lot of jabbering here up front, but we will get to some fish catches, I promise.
Good morning folks. We are at Lake Kapowsin and I'm going to try to catch some largemouths today. I don't know what it's going to take. Probably we'll spend an entire day catching dinks, but hey, you know, we're going to try. One of the things that is a concern about Lake Kapowsin is the stumps. And if you look out across the lake, you can see that there's a lot of stumps sticking up out of the water. That is about 10% of the stumps that are in this lake. And in fact, I don't know if you can see it, but this is the boat ramp here. And right here, before you even get to the end of the dock, there's a stump right there. Right in the middle of the boat ramp. So if you come to Kapowsin, be prepared. You're gonna get stumpified. I'm not sure how people navigate this lake without live scope. I mean, it's impossible to see these stumps, particularly early in the morning like this. One of the other interesting notes about a lot of these stumps is if you look at these ones out here, they look like they're probably 18-inch stumps, but when you get close to them you find out that's just the core of the original tree. They're more like the size of that stump there. So you can't assume that what you see is a representation of what's underneath the water, because yeah, it can get really dicey. You got to pay attention, that's all. Some of my followers here are, sorry, got to dodge a stump here, are also newbie fishermen. And this is one of the things that I'm learning this year. Oh, hit a stump anyway. Is, uh-oh, I'm stuck on a stump. That didn't take long. Damn it. Okay. Is one of the things I'm learning this year is that in order to catch fish, you really got to find productive water. You got to find the water that actually holds the fish. I can't believe I am friggin' stuck on this stump. It's like a series of stumps right here. They don't show up on... Get the hell away from me, you piece of shit. Alright, back to what I was saying. You got to find productive water. You got to find the water that actually holds the fish. And often in the summertime what you'll get is schooling fish. And so you've got to find an area where the fish are grouped together. Which is what makes it challenging, because when that happens, that means that there's large sections of a body of water that are just an absolute desert. And so fishing where the fish are becomes mission critical. Sounds real obvious, but for me, it's taken me almost 2 years to figure that little ditty out. But I'm getting better at it. And so a lot of times it's just a matter of cover and water. Earlier on in the spring, early spring, I was down here and I caught a nice 18.5-inch bass. Turns out my GPS was not turned on my phone, so that didn't count. Just give you an idea of what the bottom of this lake looks like, the contours.
Finally, I got all that jibber jabber out of my system here. And I started covering water, looking for something more productive, and it took me a long time. This is like 3.5 hours later. I ran across this spot. And there's a small creek that's coming in here, and I think that's maybe why fish were here.
Well, finally we caught a fish. Not a very big one, I will admit, but it is a fish. Okay, get out of here. Now, let's see if we can find some more in this general area.
Well, I can tell you they weren't exactly loaded in this area, but there was another fish in here that I was gonna be able to catch.
Come here. Two.
Okay, at this point I had moved through the lower end of the lake. I had fished a topwater for about an hour and a half, and I was getting a lot of strikes, but they were short strikes and small fish, and I just never caught any of them. So I decided, well, we're going to move on. We're going to do some more exploring of the lake, and I was casting this paddle tail as I went. And hey, man, I got hit. I gotta say, so far Kapowsin's been a bit of a disappointment, but that's what happens in the summertime. You know, you have to weed through a lot of small fish to catch a big one, and sometimes you just don't catch any big fish. This log coming up here, though, looks really delicious to me. I'm thinking, just like the other 5,000 that I've casted at today, that maybe I should throw my wacky worm in there. You can tell I'm a little bit ambivalent about the whole thing. I just sort of crawled right up on top of this log and dropped it next to it. But, you know, sometimes these things work out. I suppose working out is a relative term. Yeah, it's another dink. So that's what I caught. I caught 4 relatively small bass at Kapowsin, and got stuck on a stump. And you know, I didn't learn from this. Stick around. We're going to do day 2. Okay, day 2. It promises to be another scorcher somewhere in the 90s. Water temperature's almost 80 degrees, 78, 79. And we got some more exploring to do. So stick around. Let's find out what happens.
All right, we're back out on Lake Kapowsin again. And I found some fish yesterday. Most of the fish that I found were in areas where streams were coming into the lake. The first two fish that I caught, there was a very small creek. You could just barely hear it trickling into the lake, and some lily pads in that general area, and that's where I caught those two fish. Down at the south end of the lake, I have to watch what I'm doing here because I might run into a stump again. Down at the south end of the lake, there's another larger creek area, and there were quite a few fish down there. And I probably would have caught some more fish had I spent some more time there, but I was out of time by the time I got there. So, today, I'm basically exploring this lake and checking out different areas. So today what I'm going to do is fish the north end here. There's a couple of potential creek entries over there on that side of the lake. And just check those out. See if there's any fish on those, and try to avoid the stumps on the way. Now yesterday I saw what looked like a potential thermocline at about 16 feet, and so far I'm still in 15 feet of water, so pretty much everything here is still, if I see some fishy stuff, there's a good chance the fish could still be here, even on the bottom. It's above the thermocline is what I'm trying to say. Believe it or not, English is my first language and only language, so you guys just have to suffer through that. There's a lot of goopy slime on the surface of this lake. I'm going to have to clean my kayak when I'm done here. I didn't notice this yesterday, but that's because the wind was blowing, and I'm sure it all got blown to another area of the lake. I've turned all my electronics off because on this point here, back in March, I saw a really, really big fish. I saw it multiple times swimming around. Now, is this its summer habitat? Well, who knows? And of course I got hooked on a log. Once again, the gut hook technique works out perfectly. I didn't fish a wacky for a long time because that happened all the time. The fish would swallow it. You can't tell when they've taken it if you're on a slack line. And you need a slack line to get it to fall the way it's supposed to. So a lot of times they'll have it for a while, and if they swim towards you, you won't see it even on this high-vis braid. It just doesn't even move. So it is really difficult to tell when you have a fish. Quite often what will happen is when you pick up on the line, you'll notice that it's not where you casted it, it's somewhere else. And that's how you know you have a fish. I don't even know how I didn't feel that fish. I just set the hook because something didn't feel right. jumped into the net and came off. That's funny. That never happens to me. Okay, well, almost never. Okay, let's take a look at you, dude. How big are you? You're a good sized fish. Not really big enough. Oh, well, he wasn't big enough anyway. But he was a fun fish. And I did see that one moving. He was swimming right at me. I don't know if you guys could tell that, but that fish was swimming right at me. He was probably 16 and a half, maybe 15 and a half. I don't know. He wasn't that big a fish, but I did see my line twitch just ever so slightly, and it looked like it was moving faster than the normal sink rate. And he's about 14 inches. Hey, buddy. You know, it's fish, but he ain't very big. It's the size of that monstrosity. Dickens out of me there, fish. Yeah, we got some eyeball issues going on there too, don't we? All right, good luck with you.
This little sequence right here leads me to believe that these fish might be overly pressured. This area behind this log is not something that's going to get hit a lot, and as soon as I dropped a worm in there, bam, he was on it. So it may have some explanation as to why I'm not catching any decent sized fish. These are all like medium sized ones. And this just goes to show you how fast those little buggers can swallow that worm. He had obviously swallowed this down into the gullet, and what I was actually looking for here is to try to figure out, well, which way is that hook pointing? So I made sure I went through the right gill plate to get to the hook and be able to extract it properly. Even with all that looking and poking around, it took me a second to get just the right grip on that hook to be able to pop it out. But once I had a hold of the hook, it was easy, and we extracted the hook safely from this fish's gullet, and he's no worse for the wear.
Today was my second day here at Kapowsin, and my entire goal here was to find the fish. And I did find fish, quite a few fish as a matter of fact. I think I caught 5 or 6 fish, all of which were in the 11 to 15 inch range, I would guess. I didn't measure any of them. I did notice on my live scope, I found other fish that I didn't catch. And I threw the wacky rig at them, and I watched them go right up to it. Inches. You could not tell the difference between the wacky and the fish for a long period of time. And they didn't bite it. They just swam off. So goodness only knows how many other bass that wacky worm dangled in front of their face that they didn't bite it. And it's possible that I was in amongst the big fish, but they've been caught by a wacky worm a dozen times and they're just not going to do it anymore. That's a possibility. But I still have a love affair with the wacky worm. Well, all I know is I catch a lot of fish with a wacky worm, so that's what I'm fishing with. All right, right there in front of us is the boat ramp. And I'm going to put my wheels on, and then we're going home. All right, well, I appreciate you guys stopping by the channel. Thanks for stopping by. And if you enjoy the content, please like and subscribe. And if there's anything you'd like me to do differently, that you'd like to see something else, by all means, post it down in the comments. I will consider every suggestion, every serious suggestion, I should say that. All right, guys, thank you very much. That's all I got for you.